Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Laura Skinner, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're excited to have Anna, the founder of data science Salon. Anna will be sharing more about her founding story and, of course, giving us a glimpse into their plans for future growth. So let's jump right in, Anna, and welcome to Founders Future.
Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me here, Laura.
You're so welcome. So let's go back to the start. What inspired you to start, but also what do you actually solve within the marketplace?
Well, with data science Salon, what really inspired me to start that is just because there's a huge gap in the ecosystem for the people that were actually building these tools and using them and using data science and AI and machine learning. So, and also there was a huge gap in diversity. That's why I was inspired to start Data Science Salon. And now we are one of the largest communities that are not just for women in the US. And we are a little bit in the UK, but we're mostly in the US. We have like 120,000 people in our community. We're a nonprofit, and it's been really awesome to see it grow. So that was, the main really reason why we started. We were one of the first communities, and been 8 years, and now there's so many, like I see a new AI thing every day. So yeah, but we were one of the first couple that came out on the scene. So it was definitely exciting to build that ecosystem for the people actually using these tools and practicing machine learning and AI.
100%. AI is super interesting, isn't it? We have a ton of AI companies here, but just like it's insane. It's just blown up in just like so many different areas. Like there's just like, and I always find when I'm speaking to people about AI that basically just context matters, right? It's just like people leverage AI, but without the context, it's just impossible to actually leverage it in like an educated manner. But it's like hard. It's like you've got to be quite clever on how you articulate and use it.
Right. Well, the big thing about AI is just having data, to actually be able to, do AI. Because if you run AI models and, because if you actually don't have the data, you can't really use or, run AI internally in your organization. So that's kind of the basis is having enough data to actually be able to use AI for your product. So that's like the main thing.
100%. And then just for our listeners, could you walk us through like a customer journey from like A to Z and what that actually looks like?
Well, so for Data Science Salon, we don't really have a customer journey because we're a nonprofit and it's mainly just a community ecosystem. So there's not, that would be difficult for me to walk through for Data Science Salon, but I can walk you through a customer journey for Formulated by, which is our sister company. I could go through that if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. So you've got a sister company. Are they like work together?
I mean, they do work together where we, obviously we kind of work with the community, as a
Nice.
partner. So yeah, so they definitely work together. And what Formulated by does, which is the sister company, is we are a B2B marketing firm that's very heavy on lead gen and filling up your pipeline by using experiential marketing, and meaning doing a lot of experiences, meaning in-person events, virtual events, to really build the ecosystem, right, for our customers. And so the customer journey might be is we might meet somebody at Data Science Salon, right, that is looking to build their own ecosystem, right? So
Yeah,
they
of
will
course.
come to Formulated by to do that. So the customer journey will start at Data Science Salon, but it'll essentially end up in Formulated by, and then we will have to nurture it there. And by obviously showing them the awesome ecosystem that we've developed for Data Science Salon and our other clients, then hopefully, and most of the time, that we're able to close the client. So so that's usually how the funnel works with the two different companies. So
I love this. And do you know what's so great is that you can just be like, well, we'll do it for you, but look, we did it for ourselves. Like the best case study in the world is the fact that you've managed to do it yourself. So I'm sure you can just refer to the community that you leverage daily and how successful you've been in that to actually execute and close deals.
Yeah, exactly. And for us, it's really, closing the deals and helping our clients close deals organically, right? Not like very, what do you call it, like salesy or
Of course.
robotically, right? Like it's more about building relationships in those ecosystems where they actually find the use cases that are relevant for them, right? So then you could solve a real problem. And it's really like people say thank you versus like, oh my God, stop bothering me and like clogging up my inbox. So
For sure. That's insane. I love this. So talk to us a little bit about where have been the go-to-market challenges. So have you, obviously you're adding marketing services and executing deals within your businesses, but where have been your gaps in terms of when you've been scaling this on reflection? Has it been getting a predictable top of the funnel for you, or has that been quite predictable through network referrals, etc.? Or yeah, just walk us through any kind of gaps that you've had at that go-to-market side.
well, I feel like, yeah, there's definitely, I mean, business was definitely easier before COVID, I would say. So, I mean, we had to pivot, like, as you can imagine, as a lot of companies did. So, and I think we'll probably have to pivot again just because the funnel is like, I mean, I don't know what's going on in the UK, but here there's just like everything is slow. Like everybody, the budgets are being cut, people are being laid off. So, and like if you are a service business like ourselves, that definitely affects your business, right? So I think our challenge recently has been, like obviously getting good salespeople in to close deals because there's just a lot less deals being closed in general, right? So I feel like that's been the challenge in the last, I would say 18 months. Before that, it was hiring, probably. I would say hiring a lot of talent. Now it's not a problem. There's so many people looking for jobs that we have like an abundance of talent, but we can't close deals. So that's kind of where we are now. But for a business where we've been around for, almost a decade, there's always different challenges throughout your journey as a business.
Yeah, absolutely. And just doubling down on not being able to close as many deals, for example, and obviously it's the like environmental factors come hugely into this. Like, I mean, the UK is not much better than the US in terms of the political state, but there's so many things that are going on right now in the world. What do you feel like it's the actual execution of the closing, or do you feel like you even goes back to actually getting a predictable lead flow at the top of the funnel to have enough kind of opportunities to close? Like, would love just to hear your perspective on where those gaps
I
kind of
think
lie for you.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Just as I mentioned, like I don't think there's just not as many budgets out there now, so there's
Of course.
less deals to close in general. So there's just, you know what I mean? So like it's just and there's more people trying to close deals, right? So it's I feel like that's kind of what's going on again. I'm hoping that's going to change because before that we're seeing complete opposite situation, right? So I definitely has to do with the markets. It has to do with everything because tech is very volatile when it comes to, because we work with deep tech companies, right? And AWS and those kind of folks, like when they do layoffs, like obviously affects us, like, because like that, they will cut their budgets on their marketing side, on their sponsorship side, on their grants, all of that stuff, right? So I feel like that definitely affects the nonprofit businesses and also like service provider businesses, right? So
Yeah, totally makes sense, especially with the layoffs and like the AWS world. Like I can see it right now. So how do you actually go about acquiring your leads? So obviously you've got the funnel coming in from like your ecosystem, etc. But are you leveraging any other systems like organic outreach yourself or any paid media or anything like that?
yeah, I mean, so all of our referrals are like just word of mouth because we're a boutique agency. Like we're not like trying to get like 100, like we can't service 100 clients.
Cool.
So yeah, so our funnel like for the agency side is strictly through the community, the ecosystem. Like right now, our whole initiatives to work with like female founders only
Love
moving
it.
forward. So that is the only kind of companies that will be, if we don't really, as I said, do like outreach. We get a lot more inbound, but that's like now I think we probably might do some outreach to some female founded companies because that's what we want to like, that's who we want to work with more. But As far as data science salon, we the main pipe comes from like ads that we have a Google grant and we run a lot of ads, and like the pipe, like again, that fills the pipe for that. And also just a lot of the community initiatives that we do. We host like 30 events,
It's
meetups that are
insane.
free, and then five events that are like that people have to pay for, but that's quite a bit of touch points, right, for people to get in touch with us. We also do at least one webinar like every other week. We post we have a podcast, so there's like all these different funnels like being filled all the time, you know.
100%. And what you're doing with those different funnels and being kind of that thought leadership is only going to enhance when you do go out and organically outreach to, say, female founders. And even doubling down on a niche like that is only going to like make your revenue go up, right? Too many people are super broad, and actually doubling down on that niche. And I obviously love that niche, but just like, yeah, I feel like everything you're doing is only going to complement when you do start to pivot to making sure that you can get those outbound leads as well.
Yeah, no, I hope so. Yeah, because I feel like I've always been like all the things I've done and all the businesses and companies I've had were very niche focused, because I am a big believer that the more niche you are, the more
100%.
success you can see quicker versus going very broad, because broad is like it's too broad,
Of
because
course.
especially if you're small, you can only do so much, right? So
Absolutely. So then in terms of fulfillment side, is there a capacity on that? So is there a level, because you mentioned like the whole boutique side and you don't want hundreds and hundreds of leads, obviously. So walk us through a little bit of the fulfillment side. I'd love to get a little bit better understanding on that in terms of is there a capacity issue in that sense? Like, do you actually cap off at some level once you've got enough kind of people you're working with?
well, yeah, for the agency side, we really only work with about 5 to 10, like 10 clients at the very max. And then on the data science salon side for our events, like we're also very selective. Like our events are about 300 people for each event. So yes, as you can imagine, we have a lot of people in our community. So we do have, so we are selective with the people that come through the pipeline. So I'm not saying there's a cap, but there is, like, again, we're selective. We very nitpick the people that come through the pipeline.
I
So
love it so much. I think it's great. So in terms of the just going back to doing the leveraging the outbound, are you going to how do you perceive that working? Are you going to leverage like value and share value and try and almost like outbound prospect through like multi channels, or do you have kind of a mindset behind the way that you'd like that to be delivered to the market?
yeah, so that's a great question. So right now, the kind of, so we do like do some sales outreach right now. We've been build agents a while back. As you can imagine, we've been in the industry for quite some time. So we had agents before, like agentic AI was like a big
Nice.
part of the conversation. But
Love
what
it.
the agents do is we usually have a list that's one of our sales reps like puts in there, and they'll send the agents will send the emails, and when somebody responds that, it'll give it to like back to the salesperson, right? So we'll probably do something similar but more targeted and specific, like female founders, right? So and then maybe it'll be even more personalized than what we're sending out now, because right now we're sending out a lot of volume. uh Probably this will be like more personalized, smaller volume campaigns, but it'll be definitely through, like, it'll look like I'm sending it to them, you
So
know.
you'll
So
leverage AI through your profile.
yes, yeah.
I love through LinkedIn.
Not LinkedIn, just like we use different kind of tools. And I mean, we use HubSpot as one of them and a few other things. I mean, I feel like LinkedIn can be effective, but not like automatic messages. You have to write them yourself.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
you can't, yeah, because people get like, I like people talk about these tools all the time and how shitty they are and how like they thought they were talking to somebody and then they got this like automated message and they're so like pissed off about it. Like I feel like it's not the right way to go about it,
completely
especially,
agree.
yeah, I'm like a top voice. I have a lot of followers. So if I'm really gonna reach out to you as a female founder, like I'm more like I will get a response.
100.
Versus me like doing some automated stuff, you know, and then I will offend somebody, you know.
No, no, for sure. And it also messes with your account so much. Like it's awesome that you're a
Yeah.
top voice, etc. But like imagine risking losing that account. And like they have been known to like block people's accounts because they can test it and all these tools. I even remember when I first started in my career, like oh God, nearly 10 years ago, and there was a tool that in LinkedIn that you could like max out your connection request by like clicking one button. And I was just like, this is
Yeah.
so dangerous. Like they banned someone's account. I was like just an SDR when I was like 19 or something. And I was like, I don't want to be involved in this. And it's like haunted me till my 30s now that I'm like, everything, you can't do automation through LinkedIn.
No, you really can't. I mean, now they even limited the number of connection requests you could send per day. It's only like, no, per week, it's only like 50 or something. It's really like, so they don't have an open API. Like, let's just say that,
100%. And it's all done with like your score and all this kind of stuff. But what are your next kind of like priorities then when you look at your sales and marketing? Like over the next couple of months, what are you like, let's get ahead of this, let's double down on this. Anything that comes top of the mind there?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We're actually trying to pivot into more. So we've been in like very deep tech for a long time,
Nice.
and serving those kind of clients. Now we're trying to go more into more just technology and more healthcare, maybe some fashion, lifestyle kind of stuff, So just so like to basically just diversify our projects. And so to do that, we do have a plan. We're like rebranding our website.
Oh, cool.
We're going to create some additional case studies for that. And
Awesome.
obviously we have all messaging like very focused for female founders now, because I'm really tired of the bro culture, and like definitely want to, like, I want to elevate more women. I want to support them. I want to do more of that. So that's really like what we're putting into the messaging.
Honestly, I've been on with two women before this, but not for the podcast, just to talk about closers.io within their solution. And they both are doing executive coaching specifically for like women and stuff. And it's just like, I feel like today has just been like a female empowerment day for me. And I'm just
Yay.
loving
Well,
it.
it is March, it's Women's Month. So.
I know this whole bro thing is just, I'm not from America, right? Obviously. And I didn't really get this whole bro culture. And now like I'm exposed to working in America. Like I don't want to be like, but there's a lot more guys in sales than females, right? So like I'm around males
Yes.
a lot more. And I'm just like, so anyone that's a female that comes into our company, I'm just like, okay, let's work together. I'll help you get X, Y, and Z. You're so great. Let's do this.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we definitely want to encourage more women and encourage them to stay in our companies and everything. So yeah, so that's like it is it's not a big pivot, but it is going to be a focus. Uh, does it mean that I'll turn like a man down if they want to work with us? I might refer them to somebody else. I'm not going to turn people down, but
Awesome.
like if it's not the right fit, it's not the right fit. And we've definitely, sometimes you don't have a good fit with a client. It doesn't mean like every client is going to work out, right? Because sometimes you
Sure.
just have different styles of working and such. So
100%. And when we look at like the LTV, just so I can understand a little bit more about the solution. So how long are you working with these customers? Like, are you embedding yourself within their whole like GTM, or is this just like, we're going to come in, fix X, Y, and Z, and then like you're all good to go? What does that look like?
so yeah, so the customers that we've had for like over 5 years, we run like part of their, like we run like part, like their experiential part of their business. So yes, so that's what we do. But we have done, as I said, in the last 18 months, it's been harder. We've been doing a lot more like shorter projects, but usually we like to be with people for a while. You know what I mean? And we usually step in and we take over that part of your marketing team, right? So yeah, and that's how we usually operate. We're like HubSpot certified, Google certified, all of that stuff. So we will basically just manage those things for you. And it just depends on what we're managing for that client. But most of the time, it's their ecosystem, right? Like it's stuff around their community, their virtual events, webinars, stuff like that.
100%. It is awesome. And do you feel like you've got a grip of kind of what that messaging should be to speak to those specific founders, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. And I think as I also want to broaden it a little bit further and doing more branding and, like actual strategy and all of those things, because I feel like, and also a lot of the companies that are not in such deep tech, they haven't really like figured out how to utilize AI in their marketing, right? So we could definitely help them do that.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
because as you can imagine, all the deep tech people, I mean, if they are building agentic tools, they know how to use that stuff. They know how to implement it inside their tools and in their products and in their marketing and in their sales. But I think if you're not from that background of a technical side, you probably don't even probably everybody's freaking out about, like, how do we use AI? How do we put it in our product? Do we need it? Like,
Yeah.
most of the time you probably don't need it, but are ways to use it for your marketing to make things more efficient, to make things better for your customers, right? To make things more personalized. The same with sales, right? I mean, there's definitely AI solving a lot of problems for sales and marketing, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome. This is great. So before we wrap, do you have any kind of key lessons, key takeaways, anything you can share with our listeners based on your experience over the last decade of this company?
Gosh, I mean, I feel like what the big thing that's come up in our industry and like especially in agencies in general is like, is AI gonna take over, like, or gonna just get rid of the like agencies in general? Like, it's not. I think it is gonna get rid of agencies that are not gonna utilize AI, because it's AI makes us a lot more efficient. Because for us, for example, we actually were able to get rid of about 30% of our headcount because of AI, because we really don't need that many. We don't need editors now. We don't need certain people, like, we don't need as many graphic designers, right? Like, because you could get all of that done with AI. So I feel like that is the biggest lesson that I've learned, that it's definitely going to make our jobs actually like better and more efficient, and we will be able to do more with less.
Love
But
it.
I think to do that, you still will need to have a human in the loop. Yeah, and as I also mentioned, another lesson is like, sometimes the customer is not the right fit, and it's not always going to work out as a project or as a product, because as you know, startups fail all the time. So I feel like that's another lesson that you have to keep in mind as you are taking projects on, especially with smaller companies, startups. All of those things are very volatile.
It's just like so critical what you just said there. I was part of a company where we scaled to the first million and we aggressively scaled from there. But honestly, it became so clear 3 years deep that our ICP was just so broad that I was just like, we honestly, when we analyzed the top like 5 to 10% of the best customers, I was like, we have none of these anymore. Why? Like, and it's just it's so key, that point you just made about just like niching down, like we said in the pod, but also just like saying no, because if you go outside of your ICP, it can literally cannibalize your business.
Pretty much, yeah. So, and you could be very like, you just could not, you're not going to be successful. And I feel like that you definitely always want to as be successful as you can for your clients.
100%. Love it. Awesome. So that does wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. I want to thank Anna for sharing her incredible journey and insights with us today. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales through world-class marketing systems. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.